The Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cybereason, with Hardy, Mike Dussault, and Paul Perillo, is your source for all the news and information following every Patriots game.
Shotgun snap to Mac Jones. Fires to the end zone. Caught at the goal line. It's a touchdown for Hunter Henry as the Patriots add to their lead.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I hope y'all keep that same energy for tonight, baby. Can't wait.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Slipping and sliding, he was like a cat. Pop, pop, bang. Like to begin tonight's Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cybereason with an apology. My key to the game, I should have gone with the second one and called Matt back and said, don't hibernate on the Bears. You know, that's what I should have gone with. I went, don't scare the Bears, whatever. Don't sleep on the Bears. Don't sleep on anybody. You're not good enough to assume a win against anybody, and I think that proved true tonight.
Yeah. I think my key should have been show up to play the football game tonight.
Well.
That would have been nice.
Well. Let's get into it, gentlemen.
Not that I want to, take it. My key was dead on. Protect the football. They didn't. They lost. I'm a little disgusted. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I'm a little disgusted.
855-PATS-500. You can load up now, and you send your emails whenever you want, webradio@patriots.com. It's going to be a minute before we get to the calls because the good list won't take long. The bad list is going to take a while, and unfortunately the injured list is going to take a while here tonight. But just your opening thoughts, if you want to take a victory lap on your key to the game, Deuce, you can.
I can't. There's no victory lap being taken here. What do you mean? I buried the Bears. We didn't bury anything. We buried ourselves before we even started the game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Thanks for remembering.
We all thought the Patriots were going to win this game relatively easily.
Yeah.
I'll take my medicine first if you want, because I have been a big advocate of, since Brady left, there is no longer penciling in W's. You know, there's a couple of games here and there. I had like the Jets last year, Jacksonville when they came in with 20 guys on the COVID list. This year I came into the year thinking there was one team that you could pencil in for a W. It was tonight against Chicago. And the wrong team could pencil in the W because that was an ass-kicking in every facet of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. The Bears were the vastly superior team tonight.
Yeah, worst loss since I've been here, I would say. I mean, there's been losses before, but you've lost to good teams. Defensively, you did nothing. I mean, you made Justin Fields look like Lamar Jackson. He kind of had his way with the defense. I think what they got the back-to-back. They forced a 3-and-out. They got an interception in the middle of the game. That was it. Otherwise, every drive was long. They controlled the clock. The worst passing attack in the league. They didn't have to do much, but they did what they had to when they got into those situations. Credit to Justin Fields. I think he looked like a quarterback who came to play tonight, as did the Bears. I don't think the Patriots came to play in any facet of the game. I'm not sure really where to start. I don't think the quarterback – I mean, early on it seemed like all we were going to be talking about was the quarterback thing. Bailey Zappi came in, and it looked pretty good for a couple drives, and then he looked just as bad as Mack and the offense did. So I'm not really sure where to start. I guess for me, I'm starting with the defense, which just feels like how can you put that kind of performance out here and tell me that this defense is going to compete for anything meaningful? They're not going to stop Josh Allen. I mean, they got to figure out a way to have some kind of answer for a mobile quarterback. It's just they have nothing right now.
Paul, anything else before we get to our good, bad, injured?
Let's get to it.
Let's get into it. Here we go.
Let's get into the good, the bad.
The good. Hey, you're good. The bad. That stinks.
It's not working.
Matt's having problems with the board. So why don't we just get
into
it?
And the injured.
Let's just get into it. Who was good?
You all right, guy?
All right. So this is not this. I think this is going to be a challenge. We had a couple of challenging bad lists the last couple of weeks.
This is going to start with the one or two good plays, right? It's going to start with the good plays.
I'm going to say, like, the only guy I thought that really came to play tonight, like, brought some physicality to the table tonight, was Matthew Judon. I thought he was active. I'm not even talking about sacks because I thought he had a couple of kind of like, garbage sacks. Like he allowed Justin Fields to run around him and he ran out of bounds. when Lawrence Guy pushed him out of bounds, and somehow they credited the sack. But I thought he had one play where he smashed down and allowed Fields to get around him. Beyond that, I thought he did a good job of making Fields make decisions. I thought he was active around the ball. He was his typical self, Matthew Judon. I'm really hard pressed to come up with a whole lot more, but it's like your thing, individual plays.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I was almost going to just combine the two. I mean, I thought Jacoby Myers had a great catch on the touchdown to adjust. I thought it was not a great throw.
I put Myers and Parker together for those two deep balls
right.
that they caught.
It was the same play, and I mean those were the two kind of big plays. I mean, I do think Parker had an okay game with his 3 catches, but overall, just I don't know who else to say. I mean, those 2 catches, but otherwise, offensively, not really much to highlight here.
No, I mean I had Mac Jones down early for the run plays just because, and unfortunately it's indicative of of an offense that's not working and guys aren't open downfield. But I just, in terms of like overall good. Oh, it's good that he feels comfortable enough to go pick up some yards with his feet and his willingness to do that. That overall is a good thing. Was he good? No. I mean, was the fact that he had to do that good? No. Was it good that he was able to and did it? Okay, yeah. But, I mean, we're talking like really nitpicky for offensive good stuff tonight.
I'd just like to see with Mac's plays, too, like, if there was stuff open. Because it just seemed like Zappe came in and he was able to find some guys just off the snap pretty quickly. And Mac he didn't seem comfortable right out of the gate.
Yeah, I initially put Zappe down for just injecting some life, but I can't leave him on the good list. He didn't. He sucked, and he sucked just like Mac sucked. So, yeah, we're talking individual plays here and there. I thought Anthony Jennings flashed a little bit tonight, but nothing of any substance. I don't know.
No, that's I mean, what else is there really?
I give the defense showed a pulse on exactly one drive all night, and that was after Mac Jones's pick. It's 10-0. You give up another touchdown there, the game's over, and they come up with a 3-and-out.
Yeah.
Which was really the only time I got to learn a gentleman by the name of Trenton Gill's name. Do you know who Trenton Gill is?
No.
He's the Bears punter.
Oh.
Didn't really get to see him much tonight.
No. You want to get caught up in the whole Zappe thing, which that chance started when it was 10-0. But even that first long reception to Jacoby Myers, I didn't think it was a very good throw.
It was an awful throw.
So, I mean, we're all getting excited because Myers managed to pull it down, but it wasn't a good throw.
And that's why Mike is right, putting Jacoby Myers on the good list.
Right.
For that. I mean, that was...
twisted in the air. I don't even know how he came down with that one. That was... I thought there was no chance. When I saw it, I was like, oh, he's wide open. The throw seems so off to me. I'm like, there's no way.
I don't know where, what side it was supposed to be to, and I don't think Myers knew, and it was kind of floated, and thank God he was so open.
That was Evan's highlight of the day. He wouldn't stop talking about this.
Yeah, evidently it was a leak route.
I can't believe they did it. I'm like,
all right.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
All right. Let's get to the bad list.
I mean, we're not over. Did we miss something?
No.
If there's something else we should talk about.
Mac Wilson Sr. made a nice play.
I missed it.
I didn't see it.
I didn't like the defense, man. Wow.
I mean.
Yeah, I don't think we need to belabor anything with the good list.
No, you brought up Judon. He was there, but
your boy made both of his extra points.
Right. Judon, gets that big sack on the 2nd and 6, and it forces them into, I think, a 3rd and 18. But then they allow Fields just pick up 20 yards on his feet on the very next play. So it's like, so what?
God.
So what?
Maddening.
Infuriating.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the bads. Where do you want to start? I think we've already said it.
I want to start with the coaching. I mean, I don't think this team was ready to play. I think they overlooked this team just like I overlooked it, only I don't play for the team, so I'm allowed to overlook it. They didn't show up tonight. I mean, and he had high hopes for the Mac thing and coming back, and I mean, it's just to me it embodied the defensive performance. This is an offense that is limited to say the least, and you made them look really good. And I mean, Sorry, I'm kind of railing 6 different things into one thing,
No,
aren't I? I'm
no, but
rambling
that's
right
a good
now,
one.
but
I didn't even have that on here, and that's a really good
It was
point.
just flat and gross.
When everything looks that bad, you probably should start with coaching. I think that's a really good point.
It's a good point. We're going to spend, I would assume, the majority of the postgame talking about the decisions made at quarterback. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what the plan was. We're going to hear from the head coach at some point tonight in his postgame press conference, but that's head scratching. The decision to pack it in early with over 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And look, I didn't think there was any chance of them winning that game, but you wave the white flag and you just start check downs and just hand the ball off. I mean, there's at least enough time to make it respectable. That was not respectable. 33-14 at home to the Bears is not respectable.
I'm going to guess the last hour and a half might be spent talking about this topic, but in addition to like just the game plan and everything that Mike just talked about, like, do you guys not find it ridiculous that Mac Jones was pulled like after an interception?
Yes, I do.
I think he created an enormous problem. Now, if you wanted to say, we're going to go back and forth, and I think that was his plan tonight, was to do that. Don't you wait till the next series so he doesn't have to leave on an interception like that? Like the look on Mac Jones's face, It's a terrible play. Mac was not, Mac didn't play well. But I will say this: it didn't appear to be related to the ankle. I thought he moved well. He ran.
They looked fine on that throw right there, and if anything, that looks like he's looked all year doing stupid stuff like that.
So I just think the decision to take him out. I said in the pregame I didn't like the plan to play both. That was clearly his plan. He even told, as Hardy said, he told Lisa Salters at half that Mac would play in the second half. So he planned on playing both guys.
I mean,
does that make any sense to anyone?
It doesn't make any sense to me, Paul. And
like a preseason game,
right?
Yeah, just get a look at both guys. What the hell are we doing?
I mean, this is an overreaction. But going into the game, you're thinking, do we have 2 quarterbacks? And now I don't know if we have one.
Well, there's a new quarterback controversy, and they both might stink. That's your new controversy,
right? And I mean, and mix the operation in with it because.
But to be fair, and to Paul's point, I can't say that Mac Jones, stinks based on what we saw tonight, because the offensive line for most of the night, which will be coming up here shortly on the bad list, was not giving either guy a lot of time to get any work done. And Mac got pulled relatively early. Look, I know it was a slow start. No people are. You think Bill heard, Zappy, I better get him in there? Like, what's going on? Are they starting to listen to the media? Is this done in direct opposition to everything that's going on? And I have no idea what possibly could be the logical reason behind the plan at quarterback tonight. I don't know. I do not know.
And I mean, I think it's fair to ask if that situation connects to my situation of the team just playing flat. Like, is this a team that doesn't really get it right now, who they are and what they're trying to do? I mean, I don't know. I think they've been trying to walk a line with the Mac stuff over the last couple of weeks, and tonight was just like kind of the worst case scenario that both guys would play bad. I mean, I think you thought, they'll do just enough to let them win and not get in trouble with the Bears, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter, especially when the defense just didn't have an answer the whole night.
Well, you said coaching. I mean, Paul, not to jump the gun here, but
go ahead.
I have to say run defense. The run defense was atrocious, and I had it first. I had it again at the end, just kind of bookending the night in terms of what was bad. It was the run defense, and for the Bears to be able to put up those kind of numbers on you here tonight. Rushing yards, 243 rushing yards.
Yeah, and it wasn't all gimmicky.
No.
Justin Fields had a really strong game, but they lined up and ran it down your throat at times in the second half, especially. I thought Montgomery was breaking tackles.
From the get-go.
I thought Herbert showed a burst. He was quicker. He got them to the edges. Montgomery moved the pile and broke tackles.
Paul, just tons of yards after contact.
Yes.
Every run that should have been stopped at 2 or 3 ended up going for 5 or 6 every single time.
And you add in on top of all of that, a little end around, jet sweep action to Pettis, which I think he could still be running if he didn't pull a hamstring.
No,
he looked like he pulled up a little bit on that. But yeah, I mean, 5.4 yards a carry on 45 carries. That's an insane amount of carries for that amount of yards. And, don't forget how the game ended. They kind of kneeled on the ball a couple, not just like kneel downs, but like the last drive they had, they ran the ball 3 times and had, 4th down and less than a yard. They would have gone for that if the game were in doubt. And then obviously the last drive, they just took a knee to run the clock out.
Yeah, you tell me how they do it. Justin Fields completed 13 passes and they hung 33 points on you.
There you go.
He completed 13 passes for 179 yards.
This is also true.
Like, that's a lot of yards.
It's a lot of yards on 13 passes.
13 completions. And 62% for him is a vast improvement over what he's done. This was an ass-kicking in every facet of the game.
Which would bring me to another point on the bad list having to do with the secondary. But I'll let you go now, Paul. We can come back. We can bring that around on the guitar and say hello to boss man Fred Kirsch. Hi.
Hello, boss man Fred Kirsch.
Hi, Hardy. Hi.
Yeah, you put the run defense down, and I think that is where you start defensively. But I thought the secondary really had a bad night. It looked like Bill decided with a running quarterback to play a lot of zone. I like to always have my disclaimer. I do not study this stuff. I'm not charting every coverage and every play, but they had some wide gaps, and Justin Fields did not have to fit very many balls into tight zones. The one to Komet down the sideline early in the second half was one, but he had a lot of easy throws to make in this game. They made it really easy for a guy who's really struggled to consistently put together offense. And what were they on third down tonight? Did you already rattled that one off?
11 for 18.
11 for 18.
61%.
And it was
absurd.
And I think they were 9 of 13 at one point, so they actually slowed down in their
I had the secondary on my list
conversion.
as well.
Yeah, and what ended up being, unfortunately, the game-winning score at the end of the half when the Bears went up 17-14. That was a completed pass to get them down close to the goal line, I think, and it may have gone for the touchdown. I have to go back and double check.
It was a screen to Herbert.
McCourty was out. I don't even think he was in on that play. I'm like, what defense are they in here? Zoe said it on the broadcast. Like, what defense is in right now? McCourty's not even out there. They don't have like a real safety back there to like stop that play from going for a touchdown. So I don't know. I don't know when it was out there, it was bad, but it wasn't even out there sometimes in a version that made sense for – look at that. Oh, it's just gross. It wasn't even a good throw. It's just –
in all seriousness, it was a great throw. Like, he drops down in between those two guys, and he puts it right on him. And then he has –
it was a duck. That's all.
No, I'm just saying, like, giving you see the aftermath of the play with Judon and Wise sandwiching him.
Yeah.
He somehow – sidearm that around him. This is just see this, and it is a duck, but he ends up putting it right on Herbert, right in his hands. Bang, touchdown. And that was game.
Yeah,
that play was game.
We'll let Fred jump in here if you've got something that's
Do I have to?
Gnawing at you. Got something stuck in your craw.
Yeah, I blame the pants.
Oh, that's great, Fred.
Yeah.
That is so great.
It's
all because of the blueberry.
First of all, they're not silver. They're light gray, and
dirty.
they don't match the helmet. So, I mean...
Did you hear me on the pregame show?
No.
I'm not huge on uniforms, but I said, not for nothing, but I really don't even think they match.
They don't match.
The piping doesn't match the piping on the shoulder pads, as I think Deuce brought
up the piping on the shoulder pads as opposed to...
Change for change's sake doesn't work. You got to have a method behind uniform change.
I thought we were going back to dynasty gray pants, that we had won a lot of games in those color pants around here, but apparently not.
So what do you got, Deuce?
I was about to tee up the third down defense, but because I do think you got to 18 third downs. They were having some success early in the down. Their lack of answers for mobile quarterbacks is just what's so distressing. And I was flashing back to the Ravens game a few weeks ago here of just, they'd have pretty good coverage, and then Lamar would just tuck the ball. And, that one, what was it, I wrote it down, third and 15, where Fields rushed for 20. Those ones. And Hardy brought it up, too. You could tell from the get-go that their guys were just playing with extra energy tonight. And the tackles were all coming 2-3 yards down the field after contact. They were playing with a little extra fire, and our guys were kind of waiting for it to happen.
And a couple other things, like you mentioned at the end of the game, they had the ball on the 40-yard line, fourth and less than a yard. They punted. Then the game ended with them inside the 5, kneeling on the ball. Back when it was still a game, the Patriots also caught a break. It's like 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, and they complete a pass on the sideline to Mooney, which gets him down at like the 10-yard line. There was like 11 seconds left. And then they have Cole Kmet, where Jonathan Jones is forced to like bear hug him. They were going to score a touchdown on that drive too, if not for the clock. Now that was a good play by Jones. That was heads up. Like, don't make sure that you don't get beat here, because they're going to have to kick a field goal even if they call the penalty. But just to like show you how close they were to putting like a 50 burger on you, like I'm telling you, this was an ass kicking in every aspect of the game.
And every time they fumbled, it bounced right back to them. It was like Patriots.
But at least you're right. They had some fun, but there was sloppy ball handling on the part of the Bears. It's not like they knocked balls away.
No. Not at all.
Yeah. I just thought, like, to Mike's point about the coaching too, like I go back to the very, very first drive of the game. Mac Jones is in there. You got a little buzz, like Mac's back, and I think the crowd had a little buzz to it. And on the second play, he throws the ball about 8 feet over Tyquan Thornton's head. Didn't matter because Trent Brown got called for holding on the play, and they ended up going 3 and out. And then for the trifecta, you got your punter comes in and has a 36-yard punt, which gives Chicago, reasonably good field position. Jake Bailey was on the bad list tonight.
He stunk all night.
He had some bad kicks.
Low line drive kicks.
That one that allowed the 27-yard return. And it looks like the punt coverage was leaky on that, but you kick a low line drive right to a guy, like literally right to the returner, who catches it almost on a dead run. We're getting a good replay of it right here on our telecast. But I just thought the way they started the game, Mike, they weren't ready to play. Now at the time, I was like, they'll be sluggish at the start. They'll get this figured out. The Bears are doing some things. They'll make the adjustments, first quarter adjustments. They'll figure it out. They never did.
I really thought, with Mac coming back, that everybody would be juiced up. The offensive line would play hard, and just nobody. I hate that thing. Oh, they came out flat. Because how can everybody be on the same wavelength and be all flat? But I don't know how to explain what I witnessed tonight.
No.
I don't know how, on both sides of the ball, special teams. I mean, it was just the low point of the season. No doubt.
You mentioned the 36-yard punt. It was the 33-yarder at the end that they ended up going up for a net field change of like 6 yards. I mean, it was so gross. And the offensive line, it didn't matter really who was back there when you're getting so much pressure sending 3 and 4. Well, that's just it. And quite frankly, that Zappe is not equipped to handle that yet. I'm not sure that Mac is, based on the way he's playing this year.
I'm sure Mac isn't.
So,
because he's had a lot of chances and he's over.
So, but these guys are allowing a lot of pressure when they were sending 3 and 4, and that's just you can't even you can't say. I'd like to be able to give credit to the Bears pass rush and say, wow, they really got after him tonight, but they didn't. It's just the offensive line played so poorly that
led by.
Yeah, well, let's roll it right into Trent Brown and his penalties tonight on the down list. I mean,
he had
four penalties.
I thought the kick was a bad call, the trip. Because
big leg in the air.
Yeah, sometimes
he's big. He's a big guy.
You got a big leg. Sometimes it just goes up in the air.
Limbs are flying.
You're being sarcastic.
Facetious.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see an argument that maybe he didn't do it on purpose, but I absolutely know why they called it. When your legs separate like that, they're going to call it. I was going to say something highly inappropriate that I'll leave for the off-air show.
It is midnight.
But 2 holds, a false start, and a trip.
Yep.
That's a tough night. And like Hardy said, I thought they had consistent early flashing pressure on the quarterbacks. Mac was unsettled right from the very first snap of the game.
And the Brown penalties, 2 of them are like right off the bat too, right? Like, I mean, these are right out of the gate, like Fred was kind of saying. Like, just
they weren't ready to go.
Sloppy.
Yeah.
Fred, I gave the mea culpa. I said, like, there was one game that I penciled in as a win, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
Can't do that anymore.
You're
can't
right.
do that anymore.
You're right. We
sure.
need to listen to Fred a little bit more often. Mike, you should do that.
I should. I mean,
you're always giving Fred a hard time. You should stop that.
And it's like I think last week, and I'm probably stupid for doing it, but I settled in and just felt pretty good about the defense. Like, I felt okay. Like,
well, so did I.
I didn't think that they were great, but I thought that they're
guilty.
competitive and they'll be hard-nosed against everybody. And, yeah, they're not going to be the 85 Bears, but and tonight,
you guys know, Fred and I have been going back and forth. I'm not going to claim victory on this game because I thought these performances, the performance against an offense like this, I thought they were past.
Yeah,
like, I'm expecting this to happen when they play Buffalo. No question about it.
No, I'm guilty.
Okay?
Listen, I thought, it's all set up. He's going to pass Hallis playing the Bears, and the defense is playing steady, and, Mac is back, and it just fell apart. And that's the problem when, you're not a good team. And they're not. They're not a good team yet. A good team is a consistent team.
So
you can't call yourself good unless you're consistent.
And I thought the defense had the best chance of being consistent, and the defense didn't show tonight.
Yeah, and just to Fred's point, what they are right now, and you can't you can't look past it. So now they go to the Jets next week, and let's just say they beat the Jets.
Yeah.
You're still in last place. So the best you can do after 8 weeks of an NFL season is being last place in your division, because even if they beat the Jets will still be a game ahead of them, and even if Miami loses to whoever they play next week, they'll be tied, and Miami has beaten you. So no matter what happens next week, the Patriots find themselves waking up to start Week 9 in last place in their division. To Fred's point, that means you're not a very good team.
Right.
And
when's the last time we were worried about playing the Jets? Because I'm worried about playing the Jets. I mean, I think right now, as it stands, we're probably going to lose this game.
I mean, I don't know about that, but based on what I saw from the Chicago offense tonight, I no longer think it's a foregone conclusion that the Jets are going to score, 6 points, 10 points next week, which is what I was figuring. I figured, like a 13-10 kind of game, but I can no longer just assume that the Jets are going to not score based on the way. The Jets aren't any worse than Chicago is offensively. They're not.
But that's the problem with the type of team we are right now. You don't know week from week.
No.
I have no idea. I would not bet one penny on who's going to start at quarterback against the Jets. How does that feel?
Well, okay.
That's another good point.
But that's a good – I mean, it's going to be a topic all week, so we might as well bring it up.
I don't know if it will.
I think –
I don't know. It might get overlooked.
I think it will be, and I think it should be.
We're kidding. It's going to be the only topic all week.
I think it will. No, I think it will be, and I think it should be Mac for the rest of the season. I mean,
at this point,
he's got to play through this adversity, and let's see what he's got. And I need to know at the end of the season if I'm still in the quarterback market.
So both quarterbacks are going to talk tonight, by the way, and Bailey Zappi already is speaking to the media, but both quarterbacks are scheduled to talk. And, I just think Bill created a problem tonight that didn't need to be created. Either you start Mac because you think he's ready to go and you live with him, like Fred says. I think I would probably side with Fred. Or you ride it out with the hot streak with Bailey Zappi. Now what you have is you started Mac. He didn't play well in his 3 series. And then you go to Zappi, and he sucks. So now what do you do? And I don't mean he sucks like he sucked tonight. Yeah. So now you have a damaged starting quarterback mentally. And I don't care what anybody says. That had to be the longest 2.5 hours of Mac Jones's life.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting on the sideline and listening to the crowd. And by the way, I would put the crowd on the bad list tonight as well. That's not helping. You're not helping. I tell my kids, you're not helping. That didn't, in all seriousness, that doesn't help the situation.
The second possession of the game.
They went 3 and out the second possession of the game when we were roundly booed. And Fred, I know I'm not making fun of you because you didn't poo-poo me. I told you that would happen.
Oh,
if they don't get
did I disagree?
No, I said I'm not making fun of you because you didn't poo-poo me.
I said Mac's got to come out and play well, or that's going to happen. Fair or unfair, it's going to happen.
I've been around too many games where Tom Brady, 1 out of every 30 home games didn't quite have it for the first quarter and a half.
They get stuck in the muck.
And they get booed coming off the fields. Yeah. I've seen it many, many times, and that was Tom Brady. So I knew if Mac Jones had a punt a couple of times, he was going to hear it. And to make matters worse, they started calling for Zappi, and then the place went crazy when he threw an absolutely horrible touchdown pass to Jacoby Myers, who made an incredible play. Not only to catch the ball, but to catapult himself into the end zone.
Yeah.
And now you got to – I'm telling you, now you got to rehab your quarterback, and you don't know what you have with your backup.
You might have lost them a
because your
little
backup
bit, too.
took several steps back.
But the way the blog went, it started out, Mac is back. Mac sucks. Bring in Zappy. Zappy's great. Zappy sucks. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have any quarterback.
Yeah, and
that's how it went.
And that's how I feel, Fred. Like you say start Mac, and I think I'm probably on that list, but like I just can't hide the fact that the way he looked, and I know he's been injured and been out and everything, but it looked exactly the same as what we saw when he came in here. They didn't move the ball.
I thought he
threw
moved
a terrible
well.
interception. He looked like
I
was
thought
fine.
he moved well on his feet, which is not a way to win a ton of football games, but I'll give him credit for that. And by the way,
it's not good for the team, but I'm just talking about for his health.
And I'll give Zappy credit. The Myers pass we talked about before Fred came in, that was a bad throw. The one to Parker was good, and the crowd lost their mind on that.
If Mac threw that, it would be he's chucking them into 50-50 balls again.
Right.
That was a great play by Parker. The throw was great. The throw on that one was great.
Yeah,
he gave his guy a chance to high point the ball. But if Mac throws that to Nelson Aguilar for a touchdown against Pittsburgh, everybody's like, "This is what we want." Just chucking it up there and hoping he makes a play. That's all that was.
And that was it. And that was it. That was it for the the highlights. For
he didn't make another positive play in the game. I agree.
He had a couple nice outs.
He had one nice out in the fourth quarter when the game was over.
Yeah. Very quickly, let's take care of the injured list here because there's a couple of big ones that we need to mention that could impact this team for.
Duggar. I mean, Duggar left with an ankle.
I did not see him
I didn't
return.
see him leave, and he didn't return.
High ankle, low ankle, mid ankle.
Don't know where in the
No one
ankle
knows.
exactly.
He just said ankle.
Tightrope, trapeze surgery.
We already know all about
Fred,
it.
I'm not a
just going to be a
surgeon.
clown.
And Duggar, too, just to point out, had like one play, two missed tackle early on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He had one in the back.
That was a big missed tackle.
That's another one, like one of those that
allowed them to kick
the
that was the first drive that allowed them to kick the field goal, the first field goal.
Could have got off the field.
That was third and long that they held it. They stopped the first down, but it was like 3rd and 12, and he ended up getting like 9 yards, and they kicked a field goal.
Is it possible that this was a trap game?
Oh, yeah.
I
think it was a trap game.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, to me, it's with Bill Belichick and the way he plays up every opponent, it's hard for me to believe that he'd let any opponent be a trap.
Right.
But man, the way they came out, it sure seemed that way.
Adrian Phillips
returned. You guys said
he did return.
91 returned. Wise led with head.
Dietrich Wise also
surprised,
returned. Yes,
I was surprised to see.
I thought for sure
because the
was
way
out.
he went down,
he went down like he was out on his feet on the way down,
like a sack of potatoes.
Juwan Bentley.
I did not see Bentley come back.
That was late, right?
Yeah, he was out for a little bit, and then David Andrews was being evaluated for a concussion off that hit on the change of possession.
They kicked Pennell out of the game for that.
Pennell
I didn't know
that
that was a thing, that you could get kicked out for a blindside block.
Let me tell you, on the first time watching on the replay, I'm like, I understand it's blindside block, and that's penalty. It didn't look that bad.
I don't think it was an egregious cheap shot. I agree with you, but it's definitely a penalty. He's going the wrong way.
It's a penalty, and it doesn't matter how bad it looked. Andrews is not the type of guy who's going to milk it, and he's not like he's soft and he's going to stay down if he's not really hurt. He got hurt on that play.
I agree.
So
Pennell's a big guy.
Oh my God! And Fred, I'm glad you said it because I thought about it after I was watching the replay. I'm like, he just kind of comes at him, but then on the second angle, you see him walking away. I'm like, oh Jesus, he's huge.
Yeah, he was here.
I mean,
he was here in our training camp, and like the size of his arms are like the size of a big person's legs. I mean, they're huge.
Yeah. See, I'm just looking at Twitter, and they're talking about some different things.
Fat guy's legs. That's the size of his arms.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Devin McCourty talking, and he had said that they felt like the Bears had more design runs for Justin Fields than they had shown previously. And that he had mentioned that they had some similar concepts to what they did with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
Forget about the design runs. What about the runs where he escaped and ran for 20?
But that you're expected to give up a few of those because he's a special athlete. But I just think that sometimes we overlook the fact that other teams can do some things,
they can game plan
based on game plan and change some things up. And
I don't know. Are you expected to allow Herbert to hit the line and then instead of getting 3 yards, he gets 5?
Yeah. No, the run defense was terrible, but I thought some of the runs, like this touchdown run for Justin Fields, I mean, that was something that they hadn't really shown. Most of his runs this year have been scrambles. He had a half dozen or more designed runs, would you say?
Yeah. I mean,
Tonight?
it's the exact point we talked about this week. I mean, I said watching the Bears, I'm like, why aren't they doing more Lamar stuff with him? And tonight they did the Lamar stuff. And the Patriots.
Mike often is ahead of the curve when it comes to game planning.
Was a curve.
Justin Fields, 14 for 82. That's a lot. That's a lot of yards for a quarter. That's a lot of rushes for a quarterback.
And I think the Patriots were gassed.
Well, the time of possession, they couldn't get off the field.
They were gassed because they couldn't stop anybody.
The time of possession and
37-14 to 22. I mean, sounds
22, whatever, 46, whatever. Yeah, they're essentially out there for another quarter of football.
Yeah, I mean, 2/3 of the
low
game.
point of the season.
All right.
I hope.
Yeah.
And maybe when it comes, back to Deuce's original point there to get us going on the bad list there, with the coaching. I don't know, maybe you're a de facto offensive coordinator, also tasked with coaching up the offensive line, couldn't handle both in a week when he was dealing with two quarterbacks and the offensive line was a sieve. And, maybe that's coming back to bite you in the ass once again.
Oh, you mean they didn't fix all that?
It didn't look like it.
But I mean, even to boil it down simpler, like it's a bad run defense, and your running game that's supposed to be the strength of your offense has just been going down the last 2 weeks. I mean, they couldn't even do anything on the ground. I mean, it's just they had no matter what they did, it didn't work.
Yeah, that's 2 straight weeks against a bad run defense too.
They can't run it.
19 for 70.
Let's let the people chime in here. We'll start with Eric in New Jersey here on the Patriots Postgame Show. Hello, Eric. What's going on?
Hey, fellas. I'm just going to spit off a bunch of few things, and you guys address what you guys want to. Cole Strange, I appreciate, would appreciate Devin Lloyd, Jordan Travis, would appreciate them beef up front. Obviously, Barmore was out there. Obviously couldn't do too much with the guys out there. Euclid, Roberts got out there. But guys get pushed around. Bentley, he just can't get out the wash. We got a little bit of speed with McMillan and Wilson out there, but again, guys are just not tackling out there. Guys aren't executing. So again, we don't have that beef up front. And then you have, again, it's frustrating. This is a game that we had penciled in. I mean, and even the lady that called in, she said she was a Bears fan, that, she couldn't, predict the score this week. And, I went back, watched. I just didn't. This was a game that we should have won. I just can't. The defense. The guy just up front couldn't get it done, and I'll take it off. It's just frustrating, guys. And I'll take it off the line.
Yeah. It's got nothing to do with beef. It didn't bother you in the previous weeks. They didn't play well, and they were not ready. And if Devin McCourty says, well, they came with some more design runs for him. All right, well, I'll allow you a few of those.
Yeah, that's not excusing away the loss.
That's not excusing away anything, and it helps understand why they were able to move the ball a couple of times. But, it was across the board.
Like if Kevin Stefanski last week said something like, they incorporated a few more play-action shot plays for Bailey Zappi than we had seen before. We'd laugh at him. Way to game plan, buddy, Like, that's what you do.
Right.
And that's what the Patriots did last week, is they threw the ball in ways that they didn't the previous week against Detroit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really no different. They threw some wrinkles at them. And like I said, that explains the first 2 drives, the 10-0 start. The fact that it never stopped all night was somewhat surprising to me. And you guys know, I've been arguing with Fred about the defense. I don't think the defense is great. I think there's a lot of holes in that defense, but I didn't think that they were still capable of that kind of performance against a bad team, and against a bad offense.
And just seeing the comments now, I mean, it's Gottschalk calling it embarrassing. I mean, McCourty echoing those sentiments. I mean, Bill badly outcoached, badly outplayed. I mean, it's everybody's fully aware of how bad it was.
So now I'm really annoyed with the whole situation with Belichick and the coaches. He was asked if Mac Jones' health led to the plan to go into the game, the plan to play both quarterbacks. That was a factor, yes. So now I'm with Hardy. Then why the hell did you play him?
Why'd you play him at all?
Why would you start a guy that you didn't think could play 60 minutes?
Right.
Like, if you wanted to play them both because you wanted to get them both some time, I don't like it, but that at least I understand.
Well, maybe
you wanted to play them both because you didn't think Mac Jones was capable of playing 60 minutes.
Well, maybe they wanted to see what he could do and just give him some time before the Jets because that's
they took the game lightly too, Fred.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Then
they thought they could play Mac Jones and knock the rust off, and then just play Zappy to win the game. That's what they thought.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what they did; they could win.
Brutal.
It could be
horrific.
I mean, it would make sense if that's the attitude, because that's what you go in, and then all of a sudden it's not going your way. And
Brandon in Atlanta on the Patriots postgame show. What's up, Brandon?
Man. Just, I don't know, man. First and foremost, no more halftime ceremonies.
Yeah.
They need to be held at Mr. Kraft's house, because that is not a good look.
Do we have a bad record with halftime ceremonies?
I don't know.
So I don't know what to do. I mean, what to say. I mean, this was embarrassing. We needed this, like, just to keep pace, just so we had a chance to get out of the cellar of the AFC.
Oh, yeah.
Now, like Paul said, no matter what we do, we're going to be, fourth place. And I feel like a big dummy. Last week I was like, oh, this defense is good, close to great. No, they're not. They're not even good. They're like, they can hang their hat a little bit at the end of the season on the shutout of the number one offense and the Lions, but overall they're trash.
How'd that Lions offense look the next game that they played?
Yeah, they stink now.
Yeah, and by the way, Brandon, I think
they stink.
I think the Will Fork halftime ceremony was at the Lions game, so you can't blame.
That one worked.
You can't blame it on the halftime.
There was
ceremony.
a Will Fork ceremony at the Lions game.
I thought so, wasn't it?
Was it Lions? I don't know. It's
know.
all a
It was here, and it was recently.
It seems like the season.
Thought it was Baltimore.
Ravens.
Okay, well, then,
well, there's a big difference. They got blown out in one, and they won the other.
It seems like the season is still relatively early, but 7 games in now.
You're right.
I mean, this is
you're inching up to the halfway mark.
It used to be almost the halfway point. We're still.
Let's go to Leo in Wisconsin. Leo on the Patriots.
Hello,
Hello,
Jerry.
Wow, that was a brutal one right there.
Yep.
I mean, I just want to start off. I mean, like, I feel like the coaching staff put Bailey Zappi in such a bad situation. Mac went down 10-0, and then Bailey Zappi had to bail us out. And the defense was put in bad situations.
I couldn't disagree more.
We can't stop the mobile quarterback, and the kicker, the punter. We had terrible punt yards.
The punter was bad, but I don't think Bailey Zappi went into the game and they took a 14-10 lead.
I mean, I agree, but like, if we were just gonna.
It's not like he went into a 33-14 game and they said, "Hey, bail us out, Bailey."
Normally, like when that would happen, like that would energize the defense and they'd rise up too.
Right.
But it was just the opposite.
Yeah.
But Bailey Zappi came into the game, and the first 2 times they got the ball at midfield, it was unbelievable.
The interception in the second half.
What?
Devin McCourty, I think it was, had a chance to make a play on the second half.
We're not doing this, are we? Are we doing this?
I mean, you really think that one play would have made a difference?
I don't even know if he got a hand on the ball.
Yeah,
he was. I mean, if we could have made a play on it, we probably could have got at least 3.
Yeah, if we could have played defense, the game might have been different. But they didn't play any defense all night.
We needed about half a dozen plays like that.
The other team had the ball and just scored every time they got it. This was one of those games where you couldn't stop them.
But our last caller was talking about Bentley, how he's just getting lost in the wash. And that was the case with a lot of guys. They just couldn't get off their blocks.
Losing it up front, losing at the line, getting pushed back.
Apologies to Brandon. The Will Fork ceremony was at the Ravens game. You were right. I was wrong. So he's on to something. I agree. No more halftime ceremonies.
And Will Fork was here, too, for this one. So do the math.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Is there math involved in that?
No, but
it's getting late, Paul. This is where we get weird.
Connect the dots. That's what he's saying. I know what you're saying,
I still say it's the pants.
Checkers.
I'm with you, Judge. Justin in Virginia.
Chess.
What's up, Justin?
Hey, what's going on, you guys?
That was some chess move with the quarterbacks, I tell you.
2020 season, honestly, like, Fred, you said we're still early in the season.
No, he said the opposite.
No, I said it feels like we are, but we're not.
But we're not. Fred said the opposite. Yeah, I'll defend. I can make fun of my boss. You can't.
That's what you meant, because we're looking at, like, if you lose 3 more division games, that's 7 losses.
Oh, yeah.
And that's reasonable. You can lose 3 games in the division, and that would be 7 losses. Like, you're already, like, there's no way we're making the playoffs. Like, playoffs. Like,
Playoffs. I worry about my 8 and 9 prediction at this point.
I tell you.
Yeah, I think it's like 7 and 9 or 6 and 10 at best. I don't want to. I mean, not 6 and 10, but 6 and 11 or 7 and 10 at best.
Yeah.
Because it just we played like the worst team on the schedule, and we still didn't. I mean, you could say Detroit might have been worse, but this is like bottom 2. It has to be like bottom 2. Like, their defense is supposed to be terrible. Their offense is supposed to be terrible.
Well,
they're not supposed to be a good team at all.
Well, maybe this is our low point, and it's the Bears' high point, and we can put it past us. And I don't know, but I'm worried about next week with the Jets. They should be salivating.
Fred, if nothing else, tonight should have told you should be worried about every game.
Yeah, I was anyway.
I know, but I mean with reason, not just with Fred Kirsch. Like, I worry about everything.
It might be okay to worry because you presumably have 2 healthy quarterbacks, and I have no idea if either one of them is going to be allowed to play an entire game, which one is going to start, but how the coach feels about him.
That's why I think you just match your starter, just play him. And whatever happens, happens.
But now you're introducing all of this, like, well, he wasn't well enough to play nonsense.
Yeah, I don't know why he said that.
Because I think that's what he felt. I don't think he just made it up.
I think he's making excuses for Mac.
Sean.
I think I'm going to enjoy Patriots Unfiltered this week.
Yeah,
for a change.
Well, usually I'm the instigator.
Today,
I think this week I might just be like the Conrad Dobler and just watch it all unfold.
And then throw like a forearm shiver.
Exactly. Sean Fitzgerald says, please don't write off another game as a win for the Patriots this year. This was an absolute collapse all the way around.
I was guilty of that.
Trent Brown is a problem. I don't even think he wants to play anymore.
Trent Brown has periods of time where he looks like that.
Yeah, he goes game to game where, like, okay, he's really good.
And he was really bad last game, too.
Yeah,
and no one talked about it because all anybody fixated on was the right tackle. And by the way, the right tackle wasn't in the lineup tonight, and it was their worst offensive line performance since week 1.
Charlie says, this team is pathetic. They have come out flat so often in the last few years. Don't think they're good enough to have trap games. Incredibly horrible defense against the worst offense in the league. Can't do anything consistent on offense. Worse, they didn't even try to win in the fourth quarter or the end of the first half. Fourth quarter, I'm with you. I do not like them waving the white flag as early as they did.
Well, the catch there is if they're really not a bad team, then they can't have a trap.
When did they wave the white flag?
With the checkdowns and the handoffs with 11 minutes left in the game.
You don't think that that's what Chicago was giving them? Like with whatever it was, was it 33-14 at that point with like 8 minutes left?
No,
Chicago's making sure you work your way down the field slowly. That's what they're doing.
Okay, but there was no urgency whatsoever. They were huddling after.
Well, that's when the fans were booing. They wanted him to throw it downfield.
But the game was over.
I don't know, 19 points in 10 minutes?
Yeah, over.
Okay.
Especially with that offense.
Okay, if you're going to concede that there's no way to score twice or 3 times against the Chicago Bears, then you should probably rethink a lot for the rest of this season.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to be like a little, and this is not directed at you, Hardy.
No, you can direct it at me.
No, it's not. But here's where I'm going to be, people are going to say, like, what a fraud. This is why they call him sunshine.com, okay? Don't confuse the Bears secondary with Detroit and Cleveland. Chicago came into the game with the 3rd-ranked pass defense in football. They weren't allowing 21 points in the last 3 drives of the game. That wasn't going to happen. And they certainly weren't going to allow it in the last 8 minutes. That wasn't going to happen. You weren't playing Detroit. And at the same time, now you're talking about not only they got to score those 3 times, but they got to get onside kicks because the other team can't get the ball.
Or at least 3 and outs.
Yeah, well, 3 and outs end the game.
Yeah.
3 and outs take 2.5 minutes off the clock. Like,
just take the defenses out of it. I just don't think this Patriots offense is putting.
Well, that's
3
what I said.
touchdowns
Not
against
this.
Anybody.
Not this
I mean,
offense.
Foxborough High School out there, probably, but
Yeah,
otherwise,
I got to be honest with you. I didn't get the feeling. I thought they were running the ball and checking down. Yes, absolutely. I think you're right, Artie.
I don't.
But I just don't think there was any. I think that might have been a situation where the backup quarterback would have gone into the game, except for the fact that the backup quarterback went into the game in the first quarter.
Do you
know what I mean? The game was over.
Yeah.
Plus, they named the stadium Gillette Labs for the night. what are we doing?
Between that and the great
Silver Pants, Gillette Labs,
What are we
mass
doing?
hysteria.
I don't think it was
Halftime ceremonies.
Here's what I would have liked to have seen: them at least try to get one score, and then cross your fingers and hope and pray for a turnover that would either,
But don't you think they were trying to move the ball when they threw the pick? Like
that was after the fact. That was down the road. I had already got up and left. I was walking down.
That was the second pick. There was another pick.
Oh, there was.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like you created a problem with your starting quarterback to put in the other guy who was every bit as bad. It won't look as bad because he ends up going 14 for 22 for 185. No one's going to remember that he had 3 turnovers.
I would like to sit down and watch again just the beginning of their the first offensive series in the first quarter to see what time was, and at some point if you can watch it too and tell me if
I can tell you right now. What do you want to know?
Oh yeah, you can look at the game log.
The first offensive series of the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Okay.
What time did it begin? How much time on the clock?
Okay, I will.
Well, there would be 15.
No, the Bears had the ball.
Okay.
And they went down.
Yeah, don't crack wise.
They went down and scored a touchdown. So the Patriots get the ball with 12:08 left, down 33-14. The game's over. This is what they do.
Easy to say now.
This is what they do.
Very easy to say now.
It's not easy to say now. There's not one person in the stadium that didn't think the game was over at that point.
So you should.
Yeah, but you can't act that way.
They didn't. They threw the ball every play, the drive ended with a pick.
But I understand what Paul is saying is right. That's what they were being given. So you got to take it. They was trying to move the ball, but fans were booing because they wanted.
Now, if you
you need to hand the ball off.
Here's what I'll tell you, Hardy.
Let me ask you a question first, please. Can I ask you a question first, please?
I think they were huddling.
I can't ask a question.
No, I'm just saying I agree with you. I think they were huddling. They could have gone faster.
Right.
Okay.
You hand the ball off, and then you huddle for 15 seconds while the clock is running, and then hand the ball off again, or throw a check down.
On. See, now
that's
to
me. That was aggravating, and that was. It's
okay. They had 8 plays on the drive. 9 plays on the drive. They ran it twice. They threw 7 passes, and the last one got picked off. To your point, it doesn't indicate here on the I don't think they were like in the hurry up. They were because it indicates no huddle when it's no huddle. And on that first drive, they were huddling. So to your point, they didn't have as much urgency as they might have.
No urgency.
I'm just telling you right now, if Tom Brady was the quarterback with 12 minutes left and it was 33-14, Tom Brady would have been sitting on the bench and Matt Castle would have been in. Or
I do not agree with that.
Backup of
no.
I'm just telling you.
No.
Think back to the Kansas City game. Tom Brady was on the bench and Jimmy Garoppolo went in.
That was different.
That was this game
in Kansas City.
That was this game. This game was just as over as that one.
In Kansas City. It makes a difference.
It
does make a difference because there's a difference between conceding a loss and conceding an embarrassing loss. And they conceded an embarrassment of a loss.
So you would feel better
at home.
You would feel better if they lost 33-21?
I think they would have not been embarrassed as much. That's
losing 33-21. You don't think that's as embarrassing?
But yeah.
As I often say, Mike, I can't tell people how to feel.
No.
I would be just as embarrassed to have lost to that team 33-21.
Could have been 40-21 too, pretty easily.
Yeah, it absolutely would have been. They nailed on the ball on the 1 yard line, which I find the most embarrassing out of all of this.
Yeah,
was that the other team felt bad for you.
The Bears had mercy on us.
Yeah. Oh. The benevolent Bears.
Yeah, imagine that.
You want to know why? Because I said, look, they stopped trying when they had the ball. When they had the ball with 12 minutes left.
I would almost
have
had them run up the score.
I mean, I'm sitting here backtracking, being like, when did I think the game was over? I think it was when they were down by 9.
You thought the game was over. Yes,
points.
You thought the game was over in the third
9
quarter.
points.
And I did say to you that I think you're right, but I've seen a lot of teams get stupid.
Yeah.
and they just couldn't mount a drive. They couldn't put any pressure on Chicago.
And I think, too,
they never made Chicago have to move the ball.
Yeah, and just to hang a little light post, too, on, like, the fumble right before halftime, and then they go down and get points. Like, situational football.
They scored twice in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they got the double score.
I mean, it's
so
things
you
like
went
that
you went from a 14-10 lead to down 20-14 at the half, and then they had the ball coming out and made it 23-14.
Right.
Like,
and that's when you said the game was over. And I thought you were right. I have to be honest with you. I thought you were right.
Feeling naughty.
But I'm just thinking to myself, how many times have we seen, and I think back even like the stupid COVID year when Denver came in here, and they kicked the crap out of them for the entire game. And all of a sudden, the Broncos decided, well, let's just have Drew Lock throw bombs on 1st and 10. We're not going to just try to get a first down to end the game. Let's throw a bomb. And they ended up having to play defense to end that game, you remember?
Yeah.
The Patriots got the ball back with a chance to tie or win at the end, and they had to come up with a stop. I never underestimate the stupidity of the other team. But that's what it would have taken, Hardy, to your point, is a lot of stupidity on Chicago's part.
And I don't
That's
put
the
it
Chicago way.
And I don't put it past him because they're not a good team, and I think
they're not. You are right about
You could
that.
have scored once in that final position had you given it a little bit more, and maybe put one score on the board, and then hope for a turnover.
No, clearly the fans were with you. They were booing the effort.
Yeah, they were also calling for Zappy in the first quarter.
I know.
I don't want to be with them.
How'd that work out for you?
David in New York on the Patriots Postgame Show. What's up, David?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Well, normally I
we
call
had an
them
argument
after like a win, and you're gonna in a good mood. But a lot of rant and rave while I'm standing in the middle of the night in my backyard.
They're also in a terrible
So
cell.
many thoughts going on.
Yeah, bad cell.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Try us back,
You
David.
have to admit, though, when Zappy comes in and get his first 2 drives, he's got touchdown. You were like, "What am I watching?
I know.
Here?
It was
Am I watching something special?"
Right.
In one of the most unprofessional,
we weren't.
In one of the most unprofessional press boxes I've been in the league, it was particularly unprofessional during the Zappy hour tonight.
People were whooping it
People
up.
were like, "Ha ha ha! It's unbelievable!"
Somebody down in the left. I don't know who was very, very loud.
Aaron Schatz.
Oh, was it the
Football Outsiders guy.
It was
very loud.
It was
during
everywhere.
The Zappy.
And let me tell you, right outside the broadcast booth, tons of Chicago fans. When Chicago went up 10-0, it sounded almost like a neutral site game.
You know what, Hardy?
It could have even leaned a little bit. Sounded like you're in Chicago. There
One
was
of the
a ton of
touchdowns
fans out there.
As the runner went into the end zone with the ball, there was like a pile. It might have been I think it might have been Montgomery's. There was like a pile as he went into the end zone. You can't really see, just like, and then the guy. I thought for a split second that might have been a fumble because the crowd reaction was so loud.
Yeah, and to watch that change when Zappy went into the game, and it was a bad throw to Myers, but people ate it up, and then they scored, and then the throw to Parker. They legitimately, and I think
the place was going hickey
accurately
or whatever.
That's when it went loopy. I said, "This place is going to explode," and that's when the you could tell the booths, you could tell next to us.
But it was hilarious though, because I'm a big.
You're watching. It was a spectacle. You're watching a spectacle.
Absolutely, Hardy. And I'm a big believer of some guys just have good fortune seems to follow them. When they need a thing to happen, it happens. Brady had it a lot, right? As great as he was, when when they needed to score and had to have the 3 and out, because anything more than the 3 and out ended the game, he got the 3 and out every time. So Bailey Zappe, Matt goes into the game, they go 3 and out. Okay, bad series to start. The other team goes right down the field. Then they go right down the field again. That's not Mac Jones's fault. It easily could have been a 0-0 game if the defense is playing with some heart, right? Bailey Zappe comes in the game, right? After Mac is done, what's the first thing that happens when Bailey Zappe gets the tap on the shoulder before he gets in the game? Defense forces a 3 and out. Only one of the night. They end up getting the ball near midfield. He throws a touchdown. What happens on the next series? Aquale, I think. Was it Aquale that tipped the ball or Judon? Judon tips the ball.
2 guys wide open.
2 guys wide open. To Fred's point, Darnell Mooney was the intended receiver. Mooney's going to make that catch for a first down. Goes right to Miles Bryant for a pick. And then where's the ball again? midfield, and they go right down the field and score. Now I give Zappe credit for for making the plays to get them down to score. But like Mac Jones gets like 2 possessions of defense, and they both scores. Zappe gets his first 2 possessions of defense. They both 3-and-outs. Some guys just have like that luck factor.
We're off quick.
Yeah, the rest of the game, Zappe, as I said to Evan Lazar, because Evan Lazar is he's a big Mac guy. Like, it's Mac's job. This is ridiculous. Yeah. I said the silver lining for you is the Zappe train fell off the tracks in the second half.
We're going to step aside. We will hear from certainly the coach. Both quarterbacks, one quarterback. I don't know. We want to thank Cyber Reason, the presenters of the Patriots Postgame Show. Great defenders don't just play on the field. They're also protecting your company and data. Cyber Reason on a mission to end ransomware and keep your business undefeated against cyber attacks. Learn more at cyberreason.com/ransom.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in PC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes Cyber Reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
TouchView Interactive.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Dietrich Wise, who was everywhere today, had a lot of big plays
the defense was dominant again.
Yeah.
It's just so long. And
live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Getting a little too giddy in here. Let's talk to Tony in Canada to kind of bring things down a little bit. Tony, thanks for being on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason as the Patriots fall to Chicago tonight at Gillette Stadium 33-14. What do you have for us, Tony?
I wasn't certainly expecting that result tonight. That was a hard game to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it mattered at all, Zappe or Mac. Our defense lost that game. That's pretty certain. Thing that I'm worried about is I think the Bears are close to the bottom of the ranking as far as offense goes. And when we took the lead, I'm pretty sure that, and you can check into it, but I think the Bears scored in the next 3 possessions.
Oh, they had
the Bears scored
22 unanswered.
They scored
points.
on virtually every possession they had the ball.
So
they were stopped twice in the game.
I think they're okay. Well, there you go. And they're somewhere around the bottom of the league, like I think 30th or something like that in offense.
Right.
So that's really what I'm worried about.
You don't worry about the offense?
All those injuries, too.
Yeah, I worry about the offense, too. I mean, I mean, 12 first downs, 260 yards of offense, 4 turnovers. I worry about everything. I
think it's
and it starts up front. I don't care if Tom Brady quits the Bucs and comes back to the Patriots with this offensive line, nothing's happening. Way they're playing.
I don't want to bury the lead here.
Bring back Scar.
You're right to worry about the offense, Paul. Worry first and foremost with who's going to be the quarterback going forward. I think it's probably right. I think it's probably Mac, but I don't think that's any kind of an answer.
That's a big part of the reason why I worry about the offense, because I don't feel really good about either one of them.
Yeah. Let's hear from the head coach here, and a big thank you to our sponsor, Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider and laptop of the NFL, and the New England Patriots, providing players and coaches with the tools to succeed both on and off the field. Check out the powerful Surface Pro 8, combining the power of a laptop with the flexibility of a tablet at surface.com. Here's the head coach.
Well, it's obviously a poor performance tonight. We were badly out-coached, outplayed. Just didn't do anything well enough in the game to have a chance to win or deserve to win. The Bears did a good job. Totally controlled the game in all 3 phases. So, we got obviously a lot of work to do here, and need to perform a lot better than that. Need to compete better than that and perform better than that. It's not any one thing. Just collectively, it's all of us, and we just have to all perform better. Simple as that. So that's where we're at. It's not about any one player, one coach, one thing. Just collectively, we just got to perform better. So that's what we'll work toward doing this week.
Bill, did the Bears do anything to surprise you tonight? Because except for a couple of occasions, it seemed the defense had no answers whatsoever for Fields or the receivers.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of answers for anything. So we didn't play well in the kicking game. We didn't play well in defense. We didn't play well on offense. Obviously, we didn't coach well. So you just pick whatever you want. You can say the same about every phase of our game.
Bill, I believe you told ESPN that the intention was to play both quarterbacks in this game. Was that because of Mac Jones' health?
Yeah, that was a factor, yes.
Stacy. Bill, who is the starting quarterback?
Yeah, we just finished the game.
So when Mac came out of the game, Bill, was that a medical decision, the timing of the pulling him? So was that related to the interception? That was his last play tonight.
No, we had planned to play. I told the quarterbacks that we were gonna play both of them. So we did.
And so was the plan for 3 series? It just seems when his last play's an interception, it looks like a benching for performance.
That's not what it was, but you can write whatever you want to write. That's not what it was.
Bill, was Mac Jones aware that he would only play part of the game?
Yes.
Joe Chiara?
At what point in the week did these guys know at the beginning of the week that this was the plan all week long, or like how did it work out with reps at practice?
We went through the week.
So they were aware of the situation that they were going to split reps?
We went through the week of practice. Mac was inactive last week.
Bill, was there any consideration toward putting Mac Jones back into the game as the game went on, or was the decision to stick with Bailey after the 3rd series sort of set in stone?
No, he would have gone back in. The score got out of hand. So I didn't think that was the right thing to do.
And Bill, just going forward, as you have the Jets coming up next, do you see a situation where you might go one quarterback one week and one the next and have kind of a platoon situation, or are you going to start one quarterback each week?
Yeah. No, I don't see that.
Bill, do you think Mac got enough work tonight to have confidence if he has to play against the Jets next week?
Yeah, I don't know.
Bill, what was a benefit of the pre-planned rotation at quarterback?
I think it was the best thing to do based on the situation.
What was the situation?
The whole situation. So.
Coach, a lot of Justin Fields' runs so far this year have been improvisational. Today they did a lot more design runs. Was that something that the defense was prepared for?
Well, we knew what his ability was. Once a couple of those started hitting early in the game, then we could see that's the way the game was going to go. So, yeah, I wouldn't say it was a total surprise. Once it declared, then we were definitely playing for it. We didn't do a very good job defending it, but yeah. Yep. All right.
All right, a lot to unpack from Bill Belichick's post-game press conference after the 33-14 loss to the Bears at Gillette Stadium. Badly outcoached, outplayed, 3 phases. Health was a factor in the decision to play both quarterbacks tonight, but Mac leaving after 3 series was not a medical decision and not because of the interception. It was just the plan.
It wasn't a benching.
It was
part of the plan.
It was not a benching.
Which I actually agree with.
Okay, So why did he not go back in the second half after you indicated he would?
He said he would have had the game not gotten out of hand.
But the score got out of hand.
Right.
So why abandon the
no,
plan?
No, but then the plan sucked.
I agree.
The
with.
plan
I'm
sucked.
going to let Fred say it because he's the boss.
No, and we all heard rumors here that they're going to play both of them this game today. We heard rumors, and when I heard that, I'm like, well, that's stupid. This isn't a preseason game.
I agree.
You know, like pick your starter and let's go.
Yes.
I thought that was a bad plan from the get-go.
Okay.
You know, so the plan sucked.
Okay. So, but if the plan sucked at the beginning and you're going to pull guys regardless of how they're playing, why abandon the plan when the score gets out of hand?
Oh, because at that point, what's the point in putting in a guy and just feeding him to the Lions like that?
What's the point of leaving Zappy in there and having him be fed continuously?
Just leave the guy in there. I mean,
because he's 100%.
The plan.
So health is a factor.
Well, he said health was a factor.
Well, the plan fell apart.
But it wasn't a factor for him not playing.
It wasn't a factor for him getting taken out when he got taken out.
And if he's supposed to go back in,
but what's the
game
point?
got out of hand.
Hardy, what's the point?
He admitted that
he's
that
either
health
gonna
was a factor.
either you're gonna just like throw it downfield and feed him to the wolves because they're gonna pin their ears back, or you're just gonna hand the ball off. Either way, what good is it? Just play out the game.
I can't state enough how much I disagreed with
the plan.
The
was a
game plan.
bad plan.
The plan was
he's
flawed to start.
And listen,
have you ever heard that before? Like, I've never heard where your starting quarterback
not in the pros
misses a couple games because of injury, and then you ease him back in a game, platooning with another.
Because we don't think he can play a whole game, but we want him to play. I've never
seen that before.
Teams that play two quarterbacks by design, it's usually when one guy has a different skill set. You know, like Taysom Hill's going to get in there because they have some plays. The Saints do some things with him that they don't do with their stuff. Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi play with basically the same parameters of the offense. You saw it tonight. It was not like there was a difference in the results.
Look,
but there wasn't a difference to the approach. Do you think, Mike?
You can't tell me that if Mac had come into this game and lit it up in the first half, that they would have taken him out the second half. There's no way they would have done that.
No, I think they would have taken him out at some point in the game, though. I think they planned on playing both quarterbacks tonight. Too many people reported it before the game.
If it was a close game and the offense was playing well and it was a close game because the defense wasn't, Mac would have stayed in the game. That's what I think.
I don't think he would have played 60 minutes.
I think this is all BS.
I don't think he would have played 60 minutes. I think that only one guy would have played in the second half had the game been close. But I think he planned on playing both guys tonight in the first half. I think that was his plan going in. Again, I'm with all three of you. I completely disagree with the plan.
Yeah, and I agree with you, too. I'm not arguing the wisdom of not putting Mac back in. I'm just saying everything that guy just said is sprinkled with BS.
Oh, I totally agree.
You know, the idea, it's like, oh, he's going to go back in. Why didn't he go back in? Because the game got out of hand. Oh, well, so it was medical. The health was a factor, but he wasn't pulled for a medical decision. No. So there was no reason for him not to go back in if that was the plan. If you're going to treat it like a preseason game and just give, like, it's all just under this umbrella of horrible plan, horribly
creating a
executed,
situation
and
here.
It's sprinkled with BS.
Yeah, he's created a situation here, and I really think that at this point, just play Mac, see what you got. Because right now, I think if Bill was being honest, he probably really doesn't know who's better. Like, probably thinks Mac is a little better because of the experience and some intangibles, but right now, like, I don't know. So let's be sure about Mac. Let's put him in. Let's make him the starter the rest of the season, see how he does. And let's see if we need a quarterback at the end of the season.
Yeah, I would largely agree with you, Fred. But just like I'm just looking over the transcript now, and you can tell when Bill – I mean, obviously, no coach is going to be in much
he doesn't want to
mood.
throw either one of these guys under the bus.
No,
he's trying to protect both guys.
But the guy who needs protecting is him.
Who, Bill?
Yes. And this is what I'm talking about. You can tell when he gets snippy, when people are questioning the manner in which I provide it. Really, I'd rather have you just say thank you and be on with it.
Well, he gets snippy
gets
when
very snippy.
He gets snippy when
people question his thought process.
Well, and the answer he wants to give is, I'm just not going to answer your question.
Right, but like
and he should just say that.
But was the plan for 3 series? It seems like the last interception. That's not what it was. But you can write whatever you want to write. No, that's not what it was. Like
I want to write what you tell me.
Was McAweary would only play part of the game? Yes. At what point did these guys know at the beginning of the week that was the plan? We went through the week. Were you aware of the situation that you were going to split reps? We went through the week of practice. Mac was inactive last week. Like, these are all ridiculously non-answers.
Right.
And it's because he looks at the media, and he's not wrong, but he looks at the media and says, how dare you question my thought process heading into an NFL game? What gives you the right to question how I go about it? That's all these answers are saying.
How is that not wrong?
But
for people covering the team to ask questions about
usually
the team.
the press, is not very aggressive. I'll give them credit tonight. They were asking
asked some
questions.
good questions,
and it wasn't that they were questioning him. You're wrong. You're
we
right.
We just want to find out what the hell. What the hell
they
just
want
happened?
to know
What happened?
Like we all want to know.
Yeah.
Like who's our starter?
But this is when he's really on the Do you think Mac got enough work tonight to have confidence if he has to play against the Jets next week? I don't know. Is the answer. What was the benefit of the pre-planned rotation at quarterback? I think it was the best thing to do based on the situation. Give Andrew Callahan from the Boston Herald credit. What was the situation?
The whole situation.
These are when Bill. It's like, listen, he doesn't owe us anything. I get that. I don't want the guys who are saying why don't you just bow at the altar of the guy who got you 6 Super Bowl? I get it. He doesn't owe us anything. But those are all non-answers, and they come at times when, like this, when people are questioning him, and he gets really defensive about being questioned.
I don't want to get into a philosophical conversation about whether or not he owes you anything, because I think he does, but I understand what you're saying, Paul.
You know what I mean.
Yes. No, technically, legally, he doesn't have to answer the questions, but also I think in Bill's mind, he earns his $25 million based on just in a vacuum. I'm that good. I get the money based on whether anyone pays attention to this game or not.
I wonder.
The people here asking questions and helping provide all this interest in the league don't factor into my greatness and my value.
I wonder if the game plan. I wonder if the game plan would have been the same if they were playing, let's say, the Cincinnati Bengals or the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, that's a good.
It seems to me that they underestimated the Chicago Bears.
I think it's going to come back to that several times throughout the week.
And I do, and I know people get really defensive around here when people, question Bill and they use the word hubris. That's always a word that comes up with Bill, and I think there's an element of that. I think he looked at knocking some rust off of Mac, knowing he was going to win the game anyway. However, he did it, and they got their ass kicked. Because not only he didn't knock any rust off of Mac, he didn't even come close to winning the game. And Fred, you might be right. You and Hardy might be right. He if Mac came out and lit it up, maybe he would have never taken him out. I just got an email from a guy who says the same thing that you guys said. I just look at it as he was telling people before the game that he planned on playing 2 guys. So that's not like, no, I took Mac out because he wasn't playing all that well.
But he also told ESPN that both guys were going to play in the second half, and the situation changed. And you're saying if the situation had been, I think what Fred and I are saying, if the situation had been different, Mac lit it up, he never would have come out of the game.
Well, how about
because then you can say he was playing really well. I'm not going to take him out.
We were winning by a lot. When they started losing by a lot, the situation changed, and Mac never went back in. So if it can change one way, as it did, it could have changed the other.
Well, I think in the second half, had the defense not been a sieve, and instead of taking a 20-14 game and making it a 33-14 game, I think you would have seen Mac Jones.
Yeah, maybe if it was really close and Zappe was getting balls batted down, all right, let's put Mac back in. I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Pats fans want to tell you about NFL All Day. With NFL All Day, all your favorite Patriots highlights become digital video collectibles called Moments. Not only can you buy and sell them on a secure marketplace full of thousands of NFL fans, you can also use them to compete in epic game day challenges. Check it out. Find some moments from your favorite Patriots players on NFLAllDay.com.
Touchview Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, Touchview also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes Cyber Reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I think there's a conversation to be had now. I think.
Are
Mac
you
Jones,
switching parties? Are you going to switch parties?
Yeah,
here, bro?
I'll reserve it to see a little bit more, but
like Tulsi Gabbard.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
All right, a couple of phone calls here. We'll go to Larry in North Carolina on the Patriots postgame show. Pats lose 33-14 to the Bears at Gillette Stadium tonight. Larry, what do you have for us? Larry? Hello, Larry?
Hello, Larry. Isn't that a failed sitcom?
That
Mike
was
Stevenson?
like a famously failed sitcom.
Yeah.
Situation comedy.
Hello, Larry?
Hello,
Yeah.
Larry. Yeah,
I thought
McLean
that was
Stevenson.
a good sitcom.
No. Didn't even last a season.
What am I thinking
Johnny
of?
Carson used to make fun of McLean Stevenson all the time for that.
Kevin in San Francisco. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
I'm thinking of the Gary Shandling.
I didn't catch all the show. I'm sure you covered a lot of all the bads and things of that sort. But to me, the most depressing thing about this was the fact that we couldn't even make any adjustments at halftime and make this a game in the second half. And I don't know where we're standing right now. Right now, one quarterback, two quarterbacks, zero quarterbacks. I don't have the answer, but I got a lot more questions after this game on everyone else.
Yeah. Are you left with more questions than answers after this game? I don't really have that many questions. I don't. I mean, the biggest one is about the quarterbacks and what that was all about, but it's not like there's a lot of mystery. Like, no.
When the defense is that bad, it's hard to really get all that worked up about Bailey Zappi versus Mac Jones when they both just look like average at best quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like, and
Well,
that's why I'm having trouble really getting invested in this whole Mac or Bailey thing. I'm like, does it really matter?
That's my
Especially when
bigger
the defense
fear,
plays
Mike.
this
You're
bad.
nailing it. He's right, Mike.
You're right, Mike.
Mike.
My bigger fear is that the offense is still what it was day one last year. Don't fall behind by 2 scores because you're screwed if you do. If you're chasing points, you're not going to catch up.
That's why Mac played, Bailey's
Doesn't
played,
matter
who
who's
started,
playing. Doesn't
who
matter
played,
who's playing
who came out,
quarterback.
who went back in. Is the result really going to be all that different whether you had the best version possible of Mac Jones?
New
or?
quarterback controversy is neither quarterback is good enough to lift the rest of this offense to a place where they can
And I think
win a
that
football game after going
right.
down a score. or
And I
two.
think that's the real thing, Hardy. And we're going to spend all week talking about Bailey or Mac, and it's like, you're
doesn't
splitting
matter.
hairs. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, unless this whole team starts playing better and starting with the defense and the offensive line, like, I don't really see how it matters that much between these two guys. Like, there's no real difference.
Rashawn in Baltimore. Rashawn, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? I got just a few things real quick, but I have to say Trent Brown definitely has to be on a bad list. Like, literally, like, the game just started, like, and I see he has a whole penalty, and then I'm pretty sure he had a couple more penalties the next drive after that, but he's terrible. And like y'all said, we don't have any tackles, whether it's Cannon, whether it's Wynn, whether it's Trent Brown, we don't have any tackles. We already got questions about the quarterback, or like y'all said, we already got the answers. Like, we don't have a quarterback right now, which kind of sucks because now it's going to be this going on all season long with who's the quarterback. Is it Mac or is it Bailey?
Well, I think that's what Belichick introduced tonight.
Yeah.
Is that Mac Jones, I'm with Fred. I would have Mac Jones be the starter next week. But what happens is, you're 10 minutes left in the first half and you're sitting on 3 points or something? How do you think that's going to sit with people?
Well,
and I know Bill doesn't
all of a
care
sudden,
what
right,
you
all
think.
of a sudden he shouldn't start caring about that.
No, I know Bill doesn't care.
Yeah.
But other people care. Like, Mark Daniels had a tweet tonight. He said, and Mac was clear, that it was communicated to him that he would not be playing the whole game tonight. But he asked several offensive players, and none of them were aware of it. You don't think there's any, confusion among the offensive players?
I agree. I do think.
And this was introduced by the head coach.
Yeah, I think there was a bad plan, and I think they need to go back to Mac's our starter. It's enough.
Well,
it's enough.
Eliminate distractions, ignore the noise. You created the noise.
Yeah.
What does Bailey Zappi have to say about the? He spoke after the game tonight. Here is Bailey Zappi.
How would you describe what your understanding of the plan entering the game for you to play was?
Yeah, I think that is something, for Coach Belichick. I prepared this week like I have every other week. I prepared, like as if I was going to play or not. This game didn't go our way, so get back to work this week and get ready for the Jets.
Bailey, can you just talk about your range of emotions tonight from obviously you did the first 2 series to then the second half?
Yeah, just got to get better. Can't fall off like I did. I got to make some throws. Got to make better decisions on certain things, and it's a good thing about having another week. Get back at it tomorrow. Watch film tomorrow. Get ready for next week.
Nick O'Malley on the left.
Bailey, when you went into the game, was it with the message that you were going to be going to the rest of the game, or was there any conversation about Mac potentially going back into the game?
Nothing to my knowledge. Of course, that's something that that's for Coach Belichick. But my job was to go in there and get the ball to my playmakers, and I need to do a better job at that going next week.
Bailey, obviously disappointed with the loss, no question. The weather conditions tonight, it looked like both teams are kind of having trouble handling the ball. At one point when you were handing the ball off to Jacoby, there was the fumble. Was that a difficult thing for you guys tonight out there?
I wouldn't say it was difficult. That's something that we practiced. That play, that's something that, we just got to correct and moving forward. But I wouldn't say that, that's anything that we didn't expect. We expected a wet ball. We practiced a wet ball. So we were prepared for that.
Billy, Bill Belichick told ESPN that it was the plan all along for both quarterbacks to play. Did you know that both quarterbacks were going to play tonight?
I prepared like I have every other week. And if that decision was made for me to go in, then I was going to go out there and, do the best for my team.
Hey, Billy. You can run, but except the one scramble today, it didn't really run too much. Is this something that is it the coach's decision, or were you just think the situation wasn't right?
More of the situation wasn't right. Like I said, I just there's some things that I need to do better at, better decision making. Some of those, maybe I can't scramble, get some yards, or maybe I can dump it down to check down and just take the profit. But that's a good thing. Watch film tomorrow and get better.
Billy, did you get first team practice reps late in the week?
That's a question. Moving on to the Jets actually, so getting ready for them.
Did you feel like you were properly prepared? It seems like the plan was to play 2 quarterbacks. Is it difficult to get 2 quarterbacks ready to go given the limited practice time that you guys have?
No, you take mental reps whenever you're not in. That's another way that you can prepare throughout the week. It's not all physical. So whenever you're not in, standing behind the quarterback, just taking mental reps. That's another way that you can do it throughout the week.
Take 2 more questions.
Bailey, throughout especially in the second half, we saw an issue with Bears defenders getting hands on passes at the line of scrimmage. Was there anything they were doing to interrupting passing lanes that were giving you trouble getting the ball out down the field?
No, that just goes on to me. I got to do a better job of getting around defenders, finding lanes to, get it to the receivers. Of course, that's something else that, I continue to work on. I just got to get better at finding lanes, getting around defenders, getting over the top of them, around them, whether it may be.
At what point in the week did you find out that Mac Jones was going to start the game?
About the same time y'all did. I prepare like I have every other week. like I was one play away and just getting ready for every game like I have last 7 weeks, and same thing I'm going to do this next week.
Yeah, a lot of, Patriots speak in there, but Paul did point out when he was asked flat out, did you know that the plan was to play both? And
his answer was about preparing like he has all the time.
Bill is covering for his quarterbacks when he told ESPN the plan was to have them both play. He's covering.
I told Fred in the middle of that, the more I hear these guys talk post-game, the more I think Fred might be onto something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know that was the pregame talk, was that he planned on playing both. I'm not sure that was a foregone conclusion that he was going to play both tonight. I think that it might have had more to do with the way Mac Jones started the game than Bill is letting on.
Yeah. Let's go back to the phones here. 855-PATS-500, webradio@patriots.com. We'll get to some more emails, too. But Jules is in Florida. Hello, Jules. What do you got for us?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Jules.
Hey, I just had to call in because the press conference with Bill, again, just, I get it. He doesn't know us, and he doesn't have to answer if he doesn't want to. But how long do you think the media continues to back down and not press? Because when you take away Tom Brady from 91 to 95, you got 6-10, 7-9, 7-9. Looked like the Browns were turning the corner to 11-5. Then again to 5-11, and I'll give him the pass on the 5-11 year when they were told they were moving.
Yeah, we get it.
2000, he comes to New England.
He's like 10 games under 500 without Tom Brady. I'll save you the trouble.
Yeah. So, I mean, when do we stop bowing at the altar and pressing him a little bit? And I mean,
I think he was pressed a little bit tonight.
I think they did.
Let me tell you something, Jules. I think you got a little bit more over the last couple of weeks. I think Phil Perry was in there pressing a little bit tonight.
Andrew Callahan.
I mean,
Mike Reese asked him flat out, who's your starting quarterback? I
mean,
think that's a very simple but yet effective question.
These guys have a line to walk where they still have to show up every day, and they still have to sit within a few feet of this guy face to face. And, you don't want to these guys are also smart enough to know this is not a Matt Patricia in Detroit situation where, the Detroit beat writers have been there for a while. This is our home. You're probably going to be out of here in a couple of years. I can act pretty much however I want. This is not the case in Foxborough. So I give them credit for pushing as much as they have been. And I think tonight they were doing it in a completely respectful and authentic way. They were asking questions in a way that they needed to be asked. So it's not he's still going to get pissed, but the questions got asked. And short of saying, hey, how come you're 10 games below 500 without Tom Brady? I think you are if you listen to the questions. The stuff that you want asked is getting asked.
Yeah, it was, and they pressed, and I think they did a good job tonight.
So what's Bill do this week, though? Does he continue to say, we'll see how Mac does in practice with the injury thing, or is that over?
Don't you think that's what he'll do?
I do think that's what he'll do, but I also think he could come out tomorrow and say, Mac's the starter.
What do you think the best thing for the team would be?
Probably just to rally around one guy right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think back to the 2001 season, there was that time when Bledsoe was back practicing and he was getting some reps in practice. The following week, he stepped forward and said unequivocally that Brady was the guy for the foreseeable future, and I think that was a very smart move, a decisive move that let everybody know. Especially with a guy like Bledsoe who had a lot of allies in the locker room. Those guys loved him. But they said, okay, Drew's our guy, but he ain't playing, so we got to rally around this guy. Because he is playing, and he's playing well, and he's winning games for us. I think that's what he needs to do. I'm not telling you it has to be Mac Jones. It would be Mac Jones if it were my decision, and I know Fred feels the same way. But I think he needs to step up and pick a guy.
Yeah, well, you spent a first-round pick on him. You put all the time and energy into him, and I think that this team right now at 3-4, looking at 3 games in a row, 2 against the Jets, 1 against the Colts with Sam Ehlinger, quarterback, that are pretty much must-win games if you want to have any kind of significance or importance to the end of the season.
They are must-win games. If you think you have a shot,
you have to. This is it.
At the playoffs, these are must-win.
There's another
games.
one. Andrew Callahan just now from the Patriots locker room. It's clear the players didn't know Bailey Zappi would replace Mac Jones. Mac took most of the starting reps in practice. Practice went well, according to the players I talked to. The quarterback plan seemed to be between the coaches, Mac, and then ESPN. And that would jive with what Bailey Zappi, how he answered that question. I don't think he was in on it.
Jeez, I mean, I don't know. You see this now. This is a quote from Jacoby Myers. I mean, I should watch the video before just reading the quote out of context, but saying Myers was surprised when Mac Jones left the game when he did. The quote from Zach Cox is, it's tough to see somebody who works so hard get that kind of treatment.
Yeah, I think he created something today that didn't need to happen. I said it live when it happened.
Let me tell you, it only reinforces my belief and my opinion from pretty much the start of this. They should have started Zappi tonight. He should have played the whole game. If Mac wasn't healthy enough to play an entire game, which is what Bill said, health was a factor in deciding to go with both. You don't play him at all. You start Zappi. The result would have been the result. I mean, you see what we got here tonight. And then if Mac is able to play an entire game next week against the Jets, you throw him in there, he's going to be rusty. Oh, well, now you've got a mess.
I agree.
This is a mess.
I agree with you. I said it pregame. If it's health, I said if he's healthy, I would play Mac Jones. But you're right.
And
Bill says health was a factor.
And, Fred, to compound the issue, maybe the reason why they did this tonight is because they thought, it's the Bears. We can swap out and we'll have enough of a lead to where he can just bring it into the barn. And
I'm worried that was part of it. That's
very
really
worrisome. Very worrisome. Let's step aside here one more time. We'll thank the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Great memories are made in Massachusetts, no matter how you choose to make them, indoors or outdoors, scenic views or city vibes, solo or family style, whatever moves you, whatever the season, plan your perfect Massachusetts getaway at visit-ma.com.
No. We found out it's just visitma.com. No, I'm serious. Yeah, they wrote it wrong on the copy.
What's that guy's name at the hub that they always make fun of for writing terrible copy?
I can't win. Moscatel.
It's visitma.com, just so anyone knows. Visitma.com.
I'm not doing that read anymore. I'm going to hand it over to somebody else every week.
Yeah.
That's my way around it.
Well, listen.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes Cyber Reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
And you guys are right. I mean, he's like Bob Sanders out there on the run. When he stacks that box, he's bigger than Sanders.
I know, he looks like a big Bob Sanders out
yeah,
there,
like,
which is a good thing.
Like he ate Bob Sanders.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Back to the phones before we hear from Mac Jones. We'll hear from Mark. Oh, we will not. We'll hear from
Fred.
Connor in Pennsylvania. Hello, Connor.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Really good.
Hey, Connor.
So, I don't know about tonight. I just, like you guys said and a couple other callers touched on, I'm going to the game on Sunday against the Jets. And if Mac wasn't healthy, like Bill said, I just don't understand what the point was with throwing him out there. Like you said, he should have let Zappi probably start from the beginning and then just give him a shot on Sunday, because now it probably, he was rusty obviously, but now I just don't know how he's gonna, how does he feel about this now? He went out 3 series, he didn't do good, and then he was pulled. The confidence got to be shot now.
I mean, this whole thing could have been settled for you, and as bad as the loss would have been tonight, If Bailey Zappi had started the game, played the entire game, and played like he played, well, then your quarterback controversy is pretty much done. Well, he turned into a pumpkin. We're going to Mac Jones against the Jets next week, but I'm bump.
Yeah.
And there you go. And he may not be great either, but
He still at least had the hope he might be.
yeah, you at least bought yourself a week and you saw what you saw. But instead, now who knows? I don't know. I think it'll probably be Mac, but
Yeah.
oh.
And that's why I go where Fred is. Like, let's just find out with Mac. Like, just put him in there and throw him to the wolves and let him stay in there and work through it and get to wherever he's going to be so we know for sure what that guy is. Because at this point, it's like, well, if the defense is going to play well, then let's just put it all on him. See what he's got. Let him play loose. Like, no pressure. Go play. See what you got. And maybe we can open up a little bit and, produce a little bit more offense than he has been. I don't know.
As Nurse Annie Wilkes once said, what an oogie mess. It's just an oogie mess. You want to hear from Mac Jones?
Dom Perignon?
Yeah.
Sure, let's hear from Mac and stuff.
Mac Jones.
Mac, when did you know that you were going to be the starting quarterback tonight?
Yeah, I think we had a good plan as always, just to, go throughout the week and figure out what we want to do for the game. And Coach Belichick was very good about communication and felt like I was good to play. And we had a good plan there and just obviously didn't play well enough there. And yeah.
Is it difficult to be the best you, though, when you know that the plan was to include two quarterbacks playing tonight?
Honestly, like I always say, I just try to control what I can control, and that's my attitude and my effort. That's something that I've done since high school, and obviously I need to be able to play better, and we do as a team as well, so I just got to lead the team and do that.
Hey, Mac. Mac?
Oh, hey, sorry.
No worries. How deflating was it to hear the Zappy chants almost after every series or every time you touch the ball?
Yeah, I think obviously, like I said earlier, I definitely wanted to play better, and I just got to do better at my job, and that's all it comes down to, and that's all I can control. And honestly, we got a good chance here to go against the Jets, and that's kind of what I'm already focused on. So, like I said, I'm going to do my best to put my best foot forward, and I've been in this situation before, and I'm just going to try and help the team, and whatever my role is, I'll be ready, and I'll give it 100%.
Hey, Mac, over here. Do you anticipate starting on Sunday against the Jets?
I guess when Sunday comes, we'll know. I just, like I said, want to become a better player and prepare like I always prepare and put the hours in every day. My schedule doesn't change, and I'm just going to continue to do that, and hopefully the results will take care of themselves. There's some things you can't control, and I'm just going to control, like I said, my attitude and my effort, and come in early, stay late, and do my job.
Mac, were you surprised at the timing of Bailey being put in the game? Did you know the third series was going to be your last one?
Like I said, I think Coach Belichick had a really good plan for us, and obviously that's kind of internal stuff, but I understood the plan and what was going to happen, and obviously wish we got off to a better start, and I played a little bit better, but I'll have a chance to practice and get back into my routine. Something that I want to work on is just getting back into my routine. I'm a very routine person, and I'm excited for this week, and that's all you can do, right? You can't really look back in the past, and obviously the game, wasn't good by any of us, and starts with me.
Mac, after Zappy threw the touchdown pass, you showed a lot of class in being the first one up to go congratulate him. And you being the captain of this football team, how do you bring this team back?
Yeah, I think I'm always going to be a good team player. I did that at Alabama when I waited my turn, and I did it in high school. I did it in Pop Warner, so I know I'm a good teammate, and that's one of the things that I pride myself in the most. And whether I'm in the game or not, I try to be a good teammate, and we have a lot of good players on this team, and obviously tonight we didn't play our best, and like you said, there's always a chance to turn around. I think you look in the past, and really good teams, they don't just climb all the way up to the top. There's a little bit of a mountain that you have to go up, and you might have to stop or go down to get some air, but you better be able to shoot back up. And that's my plan, and that's our plan, and I know we're going to be able to do it.
Hey, Mac, just how are you feeling physically? Bill said your health was a factor in your playing time tonight.
I feel pretty good. Just trying to, put in the hours like I did, the past couple weeks. And, a lot of the, if you're injured, that's what you got to do. You got to put in the hours, the treatment, recovery, ice, hot tubs, whatever you can do. And I've been trying to do that, and that's all I can control. And I feel pretty good, but obviously with time, things get better. So just trying to do that.
There are some reports this week that you were like 85, 90%. Is that where you'd ballpark it at?
I didn't really do the whole percentage thing. I think, you're either able to play or not. And obviously in the NFL, you don't get any credit for playing hurt or not, and there's no excuses. So I felt like I was, good to go. And like I said, with time, it'll get better, and just got to play the game of football better.
Mac, probably tonight, at a minimum, you wanted to knock the rust off and get acclimated. Do you think you were given enough of a chance to give you confidence should you have to play next week against the Jets?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Obviously, I played a lot of football, but at the same time, I'm still a young player. So anytime I get a chance to go on the field, I want to, put a better product out there. Like I always say, I prepare hard, but you got to be able to put it on the field, and I'm going to assess myself because I can only really speak for myself and just do better. And at the end of the day, I've been playing this game since I was 5 years old, playing quarterback since I was 5, and it hasn't been like this the whole time. I've had to, face a lot of different challenges some people don't know about, but I just kept working, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try and be the best teammate I can be and help the team any way possible, and we'll be able to go out there and hopefully turn this thing around and win some games.
Mac, I noticed you ran the ball 3 times while you were in there in the first quarter. You seemed, when you ran the ball, to really be making an effort to kind of get out there and go, that kind of a thing. We saw that. Was that to make sure that you could test out that ankle and to make sure that you're ready going forward?
Oh, I think it's just football, and sometimes, there's lanes to run, and, I'm not necessarily a running quarterback, but just trying to get yards and move the ball. And obviously, we get more yards when the ball's in someone else's hands, so I got to be able to throw it to the open guy and get it to them. And we have great skill players, a great offensive line, great backs, great coaches. There's no excuses. So I'll play better and watch the tape and figure out, kind of go back to my bucket system, what I need to do better and what am I doing, okay. So I'm going to do that again here.
Mac, what was communicated to you why you were pulled after the 3rd drive that you played at quarterback?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, just part of the plan. I think Coach Belichick obviously did a really, really good job explaining it to me. And I knew what the plan was. And, the timing's the timing, but we were on the same page, and there's no hard feelings or anything. I wish I played better while I was in there, but I'll hopefully have a chance to do that in practice and kind of earn that back and then, apply it in the game. But we definitely want to play better as a team, and we're going to do that, and we're all going to work together and put our best foot forward.
Overall, how was the speed of the game? Did it take a while to get back to you, or did it feel like you could drop back in and go?
It was fine. I think, just you can't think about things that you can't control, whether that's injury or anything like that. You just got to go out there and play. And once you're out there, you don't really think about anything. You're just out there playing. So that's the goal, is to just rely on your instincts and go out there and read and react. Cool. Thanks.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. All right. There you go. There's Mac Jones. By the way,
he said that Bill did a very good job communicating it to me.
He said that many times.
When he took me out before the game,
the plan
during the week.
Bill Belichick.
Like when was that communication?
After the game. This is what we're going to say.
At a very,
right. Or you Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really seem like it was communicated to anybody else, if in fact it was really communicated to him.
Very quickly, thank you, NFL All Day. Your favorite Patriots highlights become digital video collectibles called Moments. You can buy them and sell them on a secure marketplace with thousands of NFL fans and compete in epic game day challenges. Check it out. Find some moments of your own at NFLAllDay.com. A couple of quick emails. Chad in Atlanta says Bill's on the hot seat. I don't know about a hot seat, but I'll say this. I think you mentioned it earlier, Fred. If another coach in the league or a team that the Patriots had played had done this tonight with the quarterbacks back and forth, all this stuff, what would we be saying about that team?
Oh, yeah.
They're
a mess.
And that coach, that's a mess.
They don't have a quarterback.
It's an absolute mess. And then Antoine in Montreal wants to know why Miles Bryant is on the field so much.
He had an interception tonight.
He did.
Yeah.
Hell, he's around a lot of plays.
He did not play well.
And he's.
I don't know why you would pick Miles Bryant tonight.
I know.
No one played well. Jonathan Jones had some plays.
I tell you why I picked the email tonight is because he said, you won't read this because you never do. So that was, Antoine, I wanted to
Matthew
get your email.
Judon,
Joke's on you.
to me, was the only defensive player that was worthy of praise tonight.
Yep.
The secondary struggled like all night.
Gentlemen, we could do this all night, but I want to save something for Patriots Unfiltered
That's right.
during the week.
11
I want to leave
hours.
some meat on that bone for you guys, okay?
Should we just start that show now? Do you have to hit the music now? We'll just do that.
I'm glad you're worried about Patriots Unfiltered, the world's original podcast.
Let me tell you something, Fred. I don't worry about it. There's no. You need no worrying from me.
Well, not your show, but when I listen to Felger and Maz, I'm pretty certain that they listen to us, and they get a lot of their takes from us. The good takes.
Yeah, only the good
takes.
Only the good half. Only the good half.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for participating tonight. All the calls, all the emails, and, of course, Coach Belichick and Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. All participants in the Patriots postgame show
It's a
tonight.
star-studded show.
Really was. We had a lot to get to, a lot to listen to this week, leading up to next week's game on Sunday in New York against the Jets. Until that time, what?
Jersey.
Okay, in New Jersey.
Just be right, you know.
Just for that, the final score for the final time, Patriots 14.
God.
Chicago Bears 33. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.